I don't think if I went to college and refound my love for art, I don't know who I would be right now.
Yeah, which is so. And welcome back to another episode of Keepin It a Bean. Keepin It a Bean is a podcast where we bring together commentary, conversation, and culture all over a cup of coffee or tea, and in this case, some water. We're filming a little later at night, but we out here, you know. Alrighty, so if you are new here, my name is Marquise. This American Negro, Marquise Davon. Never marked. Don't ever call me Mark in your life. I don't like that. Please don't. Don't even try to give me a cute little nickname. We don't do that over here if I don't know you like that. All right. Anyways, but if you are not new here, welcome back to the show. You already know what it is. What up? Hello to niggas, niggas only. You already know the vibes as it is. I'm excited to have this conversation today. Before we get into it, if you want to support this here podcast, you can do it in two ways. That can be monetarily or non-monetarily. If you want to do it monetarily, make sure to subscribe to my Patreon. That is patreon.com/marquisedavon. That's MarquiseDavon. There you can subscribe to for as little as $2 a month or $24 a year. That's cheaper than your gym bill that you're not using. That's cheaper than your Netflix deal. And this one you can share across. I'd prefer you to, you know, tell a friend to also subscribe so they can get exclusive content and some drops. However, if you want to watch my show with your friend, you can also make sure that you can share out with them as well. So I appreciate y'all. And I get it. It's a lot of economic anxiety happening. So if you cannot share your funds or open your purse, please make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend, because I do think word of mouth is still super important in this day and age for content creators. It's the way that if you are talking about it, that means so much more than you just simply sharing it. But still share it across social media. Engage the hashtag KIAB or Keepin It a Bean on Twitter if you're in those streets as well. That's my preferred social media platform. However, if you're an Instagram baddie or a TikTok baddie or just want to talk on YouTube, you can do that too. So I do appreciate y'all for always tuning in. Still want to give a huge shout out to the Philly Journal podcast for having me on their show as well. Thank you so much, Dante. It was such a dope conversation just to engage, learn about your story, but also just simply be able to tell my story and get to know me rather than like what I do. And that has been such a really dope opportunity for me. So thank you so much for having me on your show as well. Please make sure that you like and subscribe. Make sure you go listen to that episode too. I'll make sure to drop it down in the description box down below. Other than that, that's all the administrative stuff we got to get out of the way. Okay. Now, we can get into this conversation, which I am so excited to have. I'm not even sure how I remember meeting you, if I'm fully honest. I don't know where this started.
I actually know exactly where it happened.
Oh, say less. First, introduce yourself, good brother, then we'll get into it.
So, you know me. I'm the Don, all the time with all the shine. My name is Ameen. People call me Mean Hendrix, or if you know me on Instagram, Yellow Puffer Coat. If you know me on Twitter, Fear of Pieces. So, that's me.
I love that. Reminded me, how did we meet?
It's actually funny because we met when I was working here at the mall. I was working at Journeys.
Oh, it was Journeys. It
was Journeys. Yeah, Journeys has actually opened the door for me to meet so many wonderful people.
Yeah.
It was kind of like my springboard to the next level.
It really was. And I gave you a compliment on something you were wearing.
Yeah. I don't remember what it was in particular because I've worn so many things and given away, donated so many things. But definitely it was like a nice, like, mutual black man to black man conversation. I was like,
yeah. You look good. You look good.
I'm like, you look good, yeah, bro. Like, you feel me? Like, what's the name of that movie with Lakeith Stanfield?
Oh, Sorry to Bother You.
Sorry to Bother You. Yeah, it was like that scene, that one scene from there.
Good. I'm trying to get like you.
I'm trying to get like you. Yeah. That's exactly how it was.
Nah, facts. Oh, wow. That really brought me back because I do remember that day. And then from there, I think we just connected.
Yeah.
Through Instagram
and then Twitter eventually.
Yeah.
X, whatever that is.
And now, whatever they want to call it, Elon, shut up. But for the most part, like, that to me was super dope because I remember meeting you and it was just immediately like your fashion sense was so different.
Yeah.
And it was something that felt like uniquely you. And to me, that's what I'm always like fascinated by, like, because I do believe like clothes tell a story about a person. There's also like this individual choice of like, I want this piece. And you seem like somebody who's just like, one, your fashion is really an extension of yourself.
Right.
And you get to communicate that to the rest of the world. which we're gonna get into. But before we get into that full conversation,
Okay.
Welcome to the Keeping It a Bean section. The Keeping It a Bean is where you can keep it 100, whatever is on your mind, whether it's personal, politics, whatever you're watching, a hot take that you would like to share out to the world. Just let people know. If I'm gonna keep it a bean, boom.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, go
so
for it.
if I'm gonna keep it a bean with you, I don't like how negative music in general has become.
Ooh.
Especially concerning rap music in general. Like, I feel like everything too much is, I gotta flex on this nigga, I gotta stun on these hoes, I gotta get this money, get this paper, stuff like that. It's really not much positivity in what like music is. And that's not even to say like rap hasn't always been this way. Rap has been like generally like an expression of feeling, self, doubt, anger, happiness, joy, whatever you want to call it. But it's just like the general vibe in music is extremely negative. And I think Yachty tried to say something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, he was just like, yeah, rap is so negative, but the reason it's negative is because y'all all ugly. And I think, me personally, Yachty is one of the least self-aware people in rap because, one, Yachty is a student of the game of rap. He knows a lot. He knows his music and everything like that. But it's just that, to me personally, what Yachty knows and what Yachty studies doesn't reflect in his music either. Yeah. So you can preach this, nobody's being positive, but then again, nigga, neither are you.
Right. I was going to say,
so, like, it's like it's just so funny to me. I feel like the last like really positive rap song that I really liked was "Shine" by Buddy.
Yeah. Oh,
I love that song.
Have you listened to his new album yet?
I haven't yet. I haven't gotten to it yet.
It's definitely like the hero's journey. Yeah. But his last song, it's just such a positive vibe, and it just makes you want to dance. But you're also just like, yeah, I can make it in life. I can do this thing too.
Yeah. Exactly. And I feel like another one too. Like I love Fashion too. Yeah. Like from he's from Fresno, I think. Mm-hmm. He did like a lot of good music, and like one of my favorite songs by him is like "Boy Meets World." Yeah, it's like this really like coming of age song of like, I struggled a lot, but look at where I've been so far, and now it's time for me to really see the world for what it is. You feel me? And it's just like we don't get enough of that music. You feel me? Like as much as I love like the Drakes and the Kendricks and the J. Coles and everything like that, the big three. You know, the big three. It does get a little bit negative, especially when it comes to the storytelling and all that. So we just gotta. I don't know how we find the positivity in rap if nobody's willing to jump on that. Everything is drill, spin the block, flex, get money, all that. So. Yeah,
because I think it's also like the world that we live in right now too. Like a lot of people are more worried around like flexing on other niggas rather than also just being honest around like the happiness in life. But I also recognize that when niggas start to feel happier, everybody just doesn't resonate with their music anymore.
That's true.
Because even like Kid Cudi, he was a better space. Nobody want to listen to him.
This is an anti-Kid Cudi fan account.
Wow. Yeah. That was a second hot take. I was waiting for that one.
He's a dork.
I like this movie though. It was a good movie.
I didn't watch his movie. He's a dork.
Oh, wow. And also Chance the Rapper. I'm an anti-Chance the Rapper account.
He's a dork.
Oh, I'm glad you know. Okay, good.
He loves his wife.
He does.
I love that for him, though. She's a black woman.
Yes, she is. I appreciate that. Thank you for that. Yeah. All right. And honestly, if I'm going to keep it a bean, do I want to talk about Rich Cousins or do I want to talk about Beyonce?
Beyonce?
Yeah, let's talk about Beyonce.
I love
Very
Beyonce.
much so. Truly and honestly, not Renaissance. Cowboy Carter? Wow.
It's the one.
Wow. She's the one of one. She's number one. She's really the only one. Honestly and truly, I was not sure what to expect, but I just appreciate the journey, the way, like, as an artist, she forces me to study and learn something new about our culture, and the way that she's placing herself as a pop star right now is the reclamation of black genres that have been co-opted by white people. But, dog, when I tell you, Sweet Honey Buckin' be moving 2 hands to heaven, but the songs for me are Daughter and oh my gosh, Just for Fun. Those 2 songs ain't no business. And Spaghetti. I like when Beyonce get a little ghetto. I enjoy ghetto Beyonce when she be in her rap bag. But no, it's like, to me, it was an album that came at the right time. There were a couple songs on there that made me like super emotional and reflective. But also just like excited about people who are able to unabashedly embrace the music and stuff that they want to make. Like, honestly and truly, I think that has been one of the coolest things to witness, of like the permission she gave so many other artists to just be like, make the shit you want to make. So many artists came out and was like, I've been wanting to jump in the country. I've been enjoying this genre. It's been so hard to break through in this space, being kept out of this space, and to have a giant like Beyonce do this kind of work. So many more people have just been like, I just want to create the shit I want to create.
Right.
And I think we're in a space right now, especially like content creation, influencers, everybody's trying to like live this luxury lifestyle and this real minimalist lifestyle, and everybody's the same. But in reality, I'm like, everybody a paycheck away from being broke. So just be your most authentic self.
That's another thing too that you said about like how she jumped into like a lane that usually they try to like steer away from, is because like a lot of people, Post Malone, like to jump into rap and use us and then springboard it into hopping into other genres of music, when if that's what you wanted to chase, that was your dream from the beginning, you could have started there and then worked your way up to here.
That's why I thought it was interesting when she had Post Malone and Miley Cyrus both on those.
Both,
because I looked at them, I said
the exact same thing about us.
I said, y'all said hip hop is bad. Y'all both really tried to divorce yourself. And so in my mind, I like to think it's a conspiracy that she put them on to put them back in their place and say, here's where you belong.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, no, like Cowboy Carter has definitely, like, I don't know how I managed to accumulate over 200 streams. I might have just played it overnight. But it went from Ariana Grande being at my top, because Eternal Sunshine was really a great album.
I haven't heard it yet.
Oh, man.
I need to get to that.
Nah, it's solid. Like, other than that, like, the rest of my top 5 is...
I'm like one of those people who, like, don't listen to albums when they come out.
Yeah.
Like, I have to get to it when I get to it. I'm going to listen to the same exact things that I've been listening to for, like, the last 6 months. And then I'm going to get to the new stuff when I'm ready to get to the new stuff.
It was funny, because I feel like I was so overwhelmed with, like, all the new music. Yeah. Because I'm like... I've been listening to Sir's new album. Heavy is really a piece of freaking work. Cowboy Carter, Eternal Sunshine really carried me through. Blue Lips is still easily on rotation for me. Another hot take?
It's not really a hot take. It's just that he said that this was his best work. And to me, I didn't feel like it was his best work.
Ooh.
But I feel like I can't tell him that personally because it's the art that he makes with his feelings, his emotions, his culpability, what he put into it. That's all him. Right. I'd be the one to tell him that, yo, this isn't your best work. But as far as I'm concerned, what I feel, what I think, I think that he's done better. My favorite is Blank Face. Yeah. Oh, obviously.
Solid body of work.
I don't think that he quite touched Blank Face. Now, if he's ready to rank it over like Oxymoron and stuff like that, I'm all with it.
Right.
I personally prefer Habits and Contradictions, but I'm not mad at you if you want to place that above it.
You know, I'm not mad at that. I would say, like, when I looked at this body of work, something that stood out to me was like, I feel like he's finally finding. This is a great introduction album to him, so people can go back.
So this is what you were saying as far as like Beyonce being like able to jump into that lane, because like this is something I always wanted to do. I'm gonna just do it, and that was something that he wanted to reflect as his message. He well, the radio want me to do this. I did an album full of this.
Yep.
I did an album full of what I wanted to do, but now I just gotta be Q. You feel me? That I feel like that definitely does reflect in his music. So,
because I think that, I do appreciate that point, because I think a lot of artists are like starting to find themselves in terms of wanting. Because one, I'm like, I still feel like it's his authentic voice, but he also found the balance of being palatable to many more artists. I think Mick Jenkins also experienced a very similar thing with his most recent project as
Mick Jenkins account.
Oh no, I like Mick Jenkins.
I'm not going to hold you. I find Mick Jenkins to be incredibly boring.
Wow.
I think he discusses very good subject matter. I will give him that. I feel like his storytelling is decent, but I find Mick Jenkins to be incredibly boring.
Wow, and it's interesting because I think for me, when I first was introduced to him, I'm so used to a very particular like setup for like hook, verse, something that catches on.
He does do things out of the box. I do enjoy that about him. My favorite Mick Jenkins song actually is Carefree. And I like that my favorite Mick Jenkins song is Carefree because it's like damn, let me do me. Let me do my thing. You feel me? I don't need your input on what I'm doing. And I'm one of those niggas who was telling him, like, yo, like, I'm not really feeling that, but he doesn't need my input. And I like it all the much more for that.
I enjoy your music taste. Yo. No, I live for this. Because but I think it also speaks to you as a person and why I'm like, one, I admire you so much because, like, you really walk to the beat of your own drum.
Right.
And, like, that is in fashion, that is in opinions, that is in thoughts, that's in creativity. And to me, you just really embody all of that. And so I want to take it back to, like, younger Ameen, right? Mm-hmm. Have you always been like this? Or when did you at least start to grow into that?
So I want to say I grew up a quiet kid.
Yeah.
So I grew up in a household of all women. Mm-hmm. So I'm the only boy. I want to play. I do everything by myself. I want to play video games. Still to this day, I don't even like playing video games with my friends. I like playing by myself. They can be in a party. We could talk, chat, whatever like that. I'm going to do my own thing. I don't like doing everything with everybody else. Yeah. And I think that also shaped how I do things too, like going places and stuff like that. I want to be by myself. Like, I don't like waiting for other people to catch up to what I'm doing. I like to just jump head first into what I'm doing. Right. So I think it was naturally something that was there, but for me to grow into it, I think I had to experience things differently for myself. Like, I grew up, I went to Girard College. Shout out to NEGC alumni.
Wow. Been there. Oh my gosh.
So I went to Girard College from like my first grade year to my 7th grade year. Yeah. And I think like being able to go back to public school after 7th grade and just like experience like different things. I don't think I would be the same person I am today if I stayed at Girard.
So it's actually funny. I have like this working theory of like kids who go through all K through 8 with the exact same friends, when they enter high school, they don't develop into themselves because they have the expectation of who they were, and it's expected for them to carry into that high school space. I noticed a lot of my students who left middle school and went into high schools and went to other high schools, they are thriving because they are now forced to be the person that they actually wanted to be, not the person they were expected to be.
Right. And even still, I think it took like, even like getting through high school, it took me a while to really find out who I was because my identity has always been the smartest kid in the class. Yeah. Not even if I'm not the smartest, I'm top 3. You feel me? The great grades, honor roll. I was, even when I got to college, I was dean's list like my first semester. I was like so excited about that. Yeah. But it was just like, that was my identity. I didn't really know who I was until I had to walk. Not that I had to walk away. Art walked away from me. I went from going to Girard College where I had every resource at my fingertips. Yeah. They gave me so much. It's kind of like similar to like how Rec Philly gives every creator every resource that they need here. So that's what GC provided for me. When I got to public school, 7th grade, stark contrast. I didn't have an art class after that. So from 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade, I didn't have a single art class. Wow. Whereas when I was in GC, I had an art class every single year. Yeah. And that's one of the things that, keeping it a bean, that's one of the things that we struggle to protect because others don't see the value in that. Right. You feel me? Where that's something that made me who I am and made so many of our favorite entertainers, creators had that taken away from them, or they've gone their entire lives with it and now they can fully bloom into it. Yeah. You feel me? So it took being away from art for me to truly appreciate the art that I wasn't making in the meantime. Mm-hmm. It took me so many years to really find it. So when I got to college, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. Yeah. I didn't want to go back to college, to be honest with you. Yeah. I wasn't ready for that. Yeah. I didn't know what I wanted to do in my life when I graduated high school, but I knew my identity was too tied into me being a smart kid, and I wanted to do something different. So when I got to college, I didn't know what I was looking for, and then one day I had an open house at the Art Institute, and they were like, oh, you can make all this money doing like video game designs. Oh, I love video games. Let me do that, or whatever like that. Yeah. Then I heard a professor speak on how there's so much money to be made in the digital space in graphic design. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, that's not too far from where I used to be. Yeah. I used to love to draw as a kid. I can't draw now. Yeah. God, goodness gracious, I'm so terrible. But getting into graphic design was really like the key to really unlocking like who I was. Yeah. And being able to mold that into who I am now.
Right.
Because I don't think if I went to college and refound my love for art, I don't know who I would be right now.
Yeah. Which is so, dog, I thank you for sharing that story, because that is so deeply resonates with me.
And it's crazy because most of the time I'll be thinking to myself, I'll be like, I don't know what my story is. I don't know what my journey is. When I talk to people about it, and people are like, oh, I've been through so much. I've been through that. And I have been through so much. But it's just like, if there was a turning point, it was that.
Yeah. That's fascinating, because I went through a very similar moment. Like, I was always, they knew me as a smart kid. I was a smart kid. I played my cello, minded my business, did theater, all of that good stuff. And so, like, that was, like, super important to me. But it was also understanding, like, I am more than just my academics.
Right.
And so my journey to college, and it required me stepping into studying abroad. I studied theater in the Czech Republic.
That's beautiful.
Dog, it was different.
Beautiful.
I learned for, like, theater for social justice, and it really unlocked an art form that I already loved. But to know that they had an intention behind this piece too made it even cooler to me, because I've always been something, and I think about it now in, like, retrospect. I was like, oh wow, I was always trying to buck the system. I said, I really do not like the world we live in.
Right.
And so, like, for me, like, more of that turned in, like, how do I use my art to create radical change? As a content creator, all of my work is really steeped in creating, whether that's an individual change or a communal change that leads to liberation for people. But seeing it done with theater, which I think is, like, the purest form of, like, storytelling, because you have to build empathy, you have to get to know the character, you have to get to know their flaws, and everybody reacts to a character differently. Like, I think that's so beautiful. And so that's when I felt like I truly started to find my voice and, like, carve out of just, like, oh, I went to school for video production. I like broadcasting, but I like to break
something else found me.
Yeah,
it found me, and that's the thing. Like, it always chooses you.
Yeah,
you may not know where you're going, you may not know what the path is, but somehow it always finds its way to you.
Yeah, and I want you to, like, lean into that piece more too, because you found graphic design, but also, like, just fashion in general.
Fashion in general.
Can you tell me about, like, how fashion influenced, like, who you are, and, like, even building out the confident person that I see you to be?
Okay, that's fair, because I feel like, honestly, like, going back to that, my confidence won't be there every day, and it's not like that for everybody. I mean, it's like that for everybody. You feel me? Like, there's going to be days where I'm not him. Like, I don't even mind. I will tweet it out. I will tweet, I don't feel adequate today. Yeah. If I'm not feeling adequate today, if I don't feel like him, I'm not going to force myself to be him that day. You feel me? But
it's beautiful.
I think it came with learning what I like and what I don't like.
Yeah.
So that was one thing that I couldn't figure out. One thing that was something I went through life, like, I wasn't really, like, a fashion kid. I'm not even going to tell you. Like, I dress like I've been a fashion veteran. I've been doing this my whole life. I haven't been doing this my whole life. If you go back to 2015 on my Facebook page, I look terrible.
Oh Lord,
I look a mess.
I don't want anybody to go back to those days. Lord
Jesus.
Yeah,
it took me basically, like, I grew up, like, I was into video games. I was into Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon. I was the real nerd. I'm still into it. Like, I made a joke about playing my Switch on the podcast, but my Switch is over there, so I'm not playing today. But okay. I'm playing Pokemon Legends Arceus right now, if you want to know, because I know people care about stuff like that. But yeah, I didn't grow up into fashion. I didn't really care about fashion. Like, if you ask my mom, like, I wasn't a needy kid at all. I didn't ask for much.
I got a child.
I was the middle child, yes.
I'm a middle child recognizes a middle child.
Yes, sir. So I grew up not needing much. I didn't really care for, like, attention. To this day, like, I think it's funny how, like, I have, like, this wanting to be the star of the show, but also not wanting to draw too much attention to myself because it's not something that I'm used to. I'm not used to, like, having so much attention. Yeah. And I don't really like having too much attention.
Honestly, that's why I became a dancer. That's why I did performing arts. Yes, you can clap for me when I want you to, and then I go back into
yeah, I'm like, I want to be like this crazy model. I want to really be out there. I want my face to be everywhere, but I don't want my face to be everywhere to be perceived. So it's kind of funny. But I grew up not wanting much, and I think, like if you ask my mom will tell you like firsthand, like, oh, he didn't really need nothing, he didn't really ask for nothing. When it came to like shoes, I knew shoes, but I didn't care about shoes. You feel me? Like I knew about all the Jordans, I knew all my basketball stuff like that. I was a big basketball fan, still am to this day. I was watching women's college basketball before I got on the pod. I was watching LSU, Iowa. It was like 31-27 when I clocked out, so I don't know what the score is right now. But yeah, like I just grew up, my knowledge through sneakers kind of brought me full circle back to college. When I got into college, I started thinking to myself, like, I like the stuff that I'm making, but where else can I put it? Because nobody's going to see it if it's just sitting on my flash drive on my computer or whatever like that. So that gave me the idea, oh, I want to start my own clothing brand. My clothes, t-shirts, everything like that, that's just another canvas for me. Yeah. So that's where it kind of like kicked off for me. So now I'm making like clothes and stuff like that. I'm making like logos, designs and stuff like that, and throw it on a t-shirt. All right, now I got it on a t-shirt. I got to find something to wear with it. Yeah. Oh, I grew up loving fucking shoes. Oh, let me see what shoes I can find. What shoes did I grow up loving? Bet. Found some shoes. Shoes go with the shirt. I'm taking pictures now. Easy. It starts to work itself out. It just just gradually like the ball just started rolling. When I first started, I started collecting nothing but like dad hats and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I don't wear a dad hat at all. I wore snapbacks a lot. I don't wear snapbacks a lot. I have over 155 fitteds right now. Dog. And it's crazy that like I'm not even touching the iceberg on how much like people collect and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Like I'm pretty newer. Like I started in like 2021, but I only started getting, that's another thing. I started getting fitted cats because I wanted to be able to put my logos on the side of it. Yeah. And then I started opening my eyes to what more can you do with it. My fucking brim has a floral brim. I pin up every single hat that I do. Yeah. Just like style always influences itself. It's an expression of itself. Yeah. So I think really like full circle again, getting back to college, getting back to the art that I loved, finally brought out who I really am, who I wanted to be as an individual.
Dog, I love that.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's so much. And the funny thing about it is like I didn't really want to go back to school. I was looking for a job at Rite Aid. That's the funny part. I was looking for a job at Rite Aid. And this was back when, I don't know if you niggas know, niggas used to do phone interviews. Yo, that's so the thing. I'm in the middle of waiting for like them to connect me with like a representative that could interview me like on the spot or whatever like that. And they're like, are you interested in going back to college, going back to school, finishing, furthering your education? I was like, no, not really, but like, I'll hear you out. Then they invited me to the open house. Yeah. Step after step. That's how I got there. Wow. So if I never would have thought to apply for a job at Rite Aid, I probably wouldn't have went to college. Yeah. Probably wouldn't be who I am. Everything is just like, it's weird. It's like the butterfly effect. Yeah. So, what else did I want to say? Yeah, that's just like how it was. Like I grew up not really caring about what I wear and stuff like that. Yeah. Like I got shoes and stuff like that. All I cared about was playing, hooping at recess and stuff like that. I'm not a kid who liked to go outside. Yeah. So like I did go outside, but like I wasn't like outside. Like it's not like I was hitting the mall and stuff like that. I was at the movies. I was flexing my fits and stuff like that. Like I wasn't into clothes like that. Yeah. I didn't become into clothes until I started studying clothes to go with what I was designing. So like my biggest inspiration is George Marciano. He's the co-founder of Guess. Yeah. So when I started studying art and graphic design in school, that's who I wanted to be. Yeah. So if you noticed, for the most part, like anybody who has been following like me doing clothes like from the beginning, all of my graphics are pretty blown up. Only recently have I started doing smaller logos, really working with typography, but all of my logos are blown up because the original 1980s Guess line, like I want to say around 87, 88, George Marciano, he blew up all his designs, his logos, everything went from top to bottom. Yeah. He made sure everything touched. Yep. All over prints, everything. Yep. I loved it. Yeah. It sold me immediately. Wow. And then also with combining my love for sports with my art, I also found out about a designer named Nutmeg Mills who made like crazy vintage sports tees, late 80s to mid 90s, I want to say. And then like suddenly like the brand just disappeared. To this day, if you try to like look them up and see where they found out, it will just say like they disappeared. Like I tried to research it, find them and stuff like that. I don't have the resources to find who Nutmeg Mills is or where Nutmeg Mills is. But if we can get that together. We need to find him.
Yeah.
But just like seeing stuff like that, like his graphics were always blown up. It's like this one crazy one. He did it for I think it was like the 1992 NFL, NBA, Olympics, all that.
Yeah.
So he has like this shirt. It has like a locker room side by side, and I can even find a picture of it because I've saved it so many times.
Yeah.
But it's like the locker room has the jerseys on the side, and in the middle, the one I remember the most is Michael Jordan Dream Team. Michael Jordan's jerseys in the center of it says Dream Team at the top, and it's like in like this elegant font explaining like the Dream Team's backstory and everything like that. It was so crazy, and I think about that to this day. And he did it for every team. He did it for MLB, NBA, NFL. So those T-shirts aren't hard to find either, but they're like at least like $85 a pop.
Duh.
Carried me. I was like, this is what I want to be. This is the lane I want to do. Even if I can't perfect it the way that they did it, I want to do something similar. I want to take away what they gave me and do my own thing with it.
Yeah.
So all of my original like first set of designs, like they were all blown up.
Yeah. I love this. Yo, like I want to know more about like, cause I love like watching you geek out about like the fashion history and like the brands and like what your inspiration is. And so can you like lean in a little bit more around like what is fully drawing you to them, and is there something that you kind of take from them that you want to like be your signature in your work, or like iterate on their foundation that they set for you?
That is a hard question to answer that I do not have an immediate response for.
And that's okay.
I'd like to think that, you feel me, I think about the impact of what clothes has on me in general. You feel me? Like just seeing that, like going back again to like them blowing up all their designs. Like they don't leave like any space unfilled. They don't waste space. And I think that's very like important with what you do. You feel me? I feel like you should take advantage of, it's another art thing, going back to being a designer. If you have like this blank canvas, why would you only want to leave one part? Like say like this is the canvas right here, this book right here. You got this fully blank canvas, and you take away that, and you just leave like this dot sitting there. That's just like your pocket logo or whatever like that. Like what about all this extra space right there? Like what are we doing with that? You feel me? And I feel like I don't like to waste space.
Yeah.
So I think that was like very important to me.
That's actually dope, because I remember when I was trying to figure out like a logo for my mugs and stuff, and like even thinking around like building out T-shirts and all this, I was like, the dude I was working with, shout out to Kosi, I was like, I want people interacting with the shirt in some way, shape, or form, no matter which angle they look at it from. And so in my mind, I was like, get a patch here, a logo on the back, and then a educator's quill on the side, right? And so this way, no matter which side you had it,
there's something there
to interact with. And so I'm like always fascinated. I love, for me, like fashion also signals the times to me.
It does.
And so I'm like always interested to see like, when do we get to the logo mania stuff? But then everybody's like super like, what does it look like to be minimal? And then what does it look like to be quiet luxury, right? And
I think
so,
that's
like,
another thing too, like that subtly is coming back, but I don't think people will notice it until it's being thrown in their face, as far as like minimalism being reverted into like this super like well thought out process and design. I think like Kid Super does a really good job at leading the pack with that too. Also, just in general too, bringing back to sports references and stuff like that, for a while people complained about like the Super Bowl logos because they were so boring. But another thing, like a detail I like that they added to each Super Bowl logo was, I think it was like from 2011 to just about like, I say 2010 2015, 2016 is when things started to change again. Because 2015, my favorite team was in the Super Bowl. They fucking lost. But yeah. So from like 2011 to about 2014, what they would do, 2010 actually, they would put the Super Bowl logo, the Lombardi Trophy in the middle, the Roman numerals forward, but they will also put in the background a small mini detailed version of the stadium.
Yeah.
And that was like a detail that people would always miss.
God, I missed that.
Because they will always miss it because they will only think about, damn, this is so fucking boring because it's just in this similar silver font that I've been seeing for like the last 3 or 4 years, but nobody's paying attention to the extra detail. So I think the switch started to happen a little bit around Super Bowl 50. We went to the Super Bowl. It was like this silver Lombardi in the middle, and then it was like just in big gold for the 50th anniversary of the Super Bowl. The 5-0 or whatever like that, and that really marked the change. So if you look at the Super Bowl jerseys now, most recently they were in Vegas, the Raiders or Raider Stadium or whatever like that. If you look at the Super Bowl patch now, they actually flush it out with a nice like red gradient or whatever like that, but in the background you can see like famous Vegas monuments in the background of the patch with the Lombardi in the middle of it. And you wouldn't,
look at them,
nobody would really like focus on that detail. They would just focus on, oh, like the patch is like colorful now.
Yeah. Which is so fascinating to me. Like, I love hearing you like talk about it because for me, I know once you study something, you can't unsee the thing.
You can't unsee it.
And you don't interact. And so like for me, I can't watch film or theater the same way because I'm like, oh, let's look at the blocking. Did they catch their beat? Did they meet their objective, X, Y, and Z? And so like I'm listening to you talk, I'm like, damn. You're gonna see every single thing like, oh, this logo could have did this, or you should have tried this.
Yeah, and I try not to be that guy either. To like, oh, this is what they could have done better. This is how they could have done it, because like at the end of the day, art is a completely subjective headspace. You want everyone to like what you make, but it's not gonna be that way.
Right.
So you got to do things in your way and just hope for the best.
Dog, that is so dope. And so, like, who are some people like you are currently watching in terms of like that you think are like the future, whether fashion, whether design, anything like that right now, or who's just resonating with you right now?
I think one of them is House of Errors. I really love what House of Errors does because they're another brand that doesn't waste space. Everything is fully fleshed out. They want you to see everything, and like their signature is just like an eye in the middle with like laser beams sprouting out across, but you see every detail that they put into their clothes. And also Kid Super, again, he's really, really good at what he does. Yeah.
I love this. Yo, honestly, I'm so happy like we were able to have this conversation because you really took us on a journey of like where it started, who you were, and then who you essentially blossom into.
And also, too, like my favorite brand, I'm wearing it right now, is actually Advisory Board Crystals. And when my first introduction to Advisory Board Crystals was very minimalist, it was probably like the most tame thing they had ever done, just blank essentials, t-shirts and everything like that. They had like their signature gold patch. But if you go and look at Advisory Board Crystal stuff, the stuff that they've released since their, like, I want to say this was like spring, summer 2022, if you see what they've done before that and after that, you're like, what the fuck was that boring, bland shit? This is nothing like anything they've done. Yeah. It's like a completely different realm. And they're another, like, brand that doesn't like to waste space. Yeah. There's space within, like, the confines of what they do, but they know their identity. They know what they're selling. They know what they do. And they do it so fucking well that you're never going to miss anything.
I could listen to you talk fashion the whole time. This is...
I wish I could. And the thing is, like, it's like you got to get me started. It's not like I can just come off the top and just be like, yeah, I like this, I like that. It's like you really got to get me in that mood for me to really, like, get kickstarted on it. But it's just like I see so much of the beauty of the world through art itself. Yeah. And if you can convey that message into the clothes you're making, it makes it all a bit better. And that was another thing, like, I wanted to talk about, too. Like, when I first started making, like, my clothes and stuff like that, I wanted people to feel as confident in the stuff that I was making. Like, when they wear it, I wanted them to feel that, like, I'm putting this out because I truly believe in it. Yeah. Like, that was the expression that I wanted people to feel. That's why the name of my brand is You Fresh C. Yeah. People think it's like You Fresh or whatever like that. Think it's like one word. No, it's actually like 3 words. It's a question.
Right.
Basically, you feel me? Like, it's showing, like, yeah, you look fresh. Can you see that? You feel me?
You look fresh. See?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was like trying to convey that message. Like, damn, I want people to really like feel themselves in what I'm wearing. I mean, what I'm making. You feel me?
Yeah, and it's dope because you answered my question. There's gonna be follow up, like with your clothes, like what do you want people to feel, and that to me is like so important. And so, like, what do you think for you is the most important part around anybody who wears your clothes? Is it the silhouette? Is it the design? Is it the messaging? Is it
So in the beginning, it was all about the message.
Yeah.
And one of the things I had to talk to, like, one of my friends, he's like, so many brands have like a message, but is that message real message, or is this what you're putting on the board so it'll push people to buy your clothes? And I never want anything to, I want everything I do to be the most 100% authentic version of myself.
Yeah.
I never want to leave any doubt that the person that you're getting every time you see me is me.
Right.
Even like on the days where I'm not feeling like me.
Yeah.
You might have called me on the wrong day.
Yeah.
I might, it's me, but it's not going to be the image that you get every single time you see me. It's just one of so many facets of who I am. You feel me? And I feel like that's what it is with my clothes too. Like, I want you to see every facet of who I am, how hard I work, where my influences come from. Because I have a secret account on Instagram that's not so secret. Because my name on Instagram is Yellow Puffer Coat, and my kind of secret account that's actually really public and you can follow whenever if you want to. I don't really care. It's called Yellow Puffer Pinterest.
Yeah.
And everything that I've posted on that account is just where I draw my inspiration from. Like, anything that I've posted on there, I've had an idea for, I can remake this. I can do something with that. I like the color scheme on that. But I don't provide that context at all.
Mm-hmm.
There's just a 10 photo carousel of random things that don't fit like a specific theme or anything like that. But every single picture that I posted, they've always had inspiration drawn to something that I've done or haven't done yet and want to do.
I love that so much because I think there's still study in your work, right?
Yeah. So when I brought that up because like a couple of days ago, I posted like one of my favorite brands to the study when I first started was Cross Colors.
Mm-hmm.
Cross Colors is a classic, very hip hop. Everybody was on that in the 80s and 90s.
Mm-hmm.
So Cross Colors did a collaboration with Magic Johnson or whatever like that. It never got released.
Right.
But there's the sketches from all of that is available. I found it on Pinterest.
Yeah.
Yellow Puffer Pinterest, and I'm on Pinterest.
Come on.
So I found all of those designs and stuff like that or whatever like that. And I found like 10 of them, posted to my carousel or whatever like that. Reposted on my story because I was like, yeah, I kind of like want y'all to see this or whatever like that. And like so many people DM me was like, yo, did you do this? And I was just like, no, one, I can't fucking draw. But two, no, this isn't me. And it was just like, you know what's crazy? Like, I thought that was you because I see how it reflects in your work. And that's exactly the way I want you to feel. I don't want you to feel like, oh, I'm biting this. Yeah. I want you to see where I drew that inspiration from. Yes. You feel me? I want my work to reflect who came before me and who comes after me.
Dog. I'm gonna be honest on that note, like I think that is like one of the coolest things because you still honor those in the past, but you're also making space for the future.
Bro,
you're making space for you.
People don't honor tradition. You have to honor what came before you. That's another thing. Back to the keeping it a being part of everything being so negative in rap is nobody has appreciation for the art and how we got here.
It's not it's no one's students anymore.
It lost its way when we lost regionality in rap.
Yo, oh my.
Once everything started to blend and everybody had like, oh, this is the sound you need to pop off.
Yes.
Once it became that's when music started to dissipate.
Because everybody found like, oh, here's the money
Everybody
sound.
found a tune that gets me money.
Yep. And so capitalism killed creativity.
And I hate that it had to happen to Sean. I hate that it had to happen to the Migos, but I love that the Migos was able to rebound from that.
Yes.
But it didn't happen to so many people where everybody capitalizes on a certain flow and then that's what the sound is.
Yep.
And then once people start blowing up, oh, that's cool.
Yep.
And then once they move on to the next sound, the person who started it, they left for dead.
They're already gone. Oh my gosh.
And it's the same way in art. It's the
Yep.
same way in film. It's
Yep.
the same way in sports. It's
Yeah,
everything.
you
You
find
find
it.
it.
Like,
You can
even,
find
like,
it in
niche
any
content
pocket.
creators. Yeah.
You can find it in any pocket.
Because people are trying to chase this bag more than they're trying to chase impact and creativity.
Bro,
and, like, a
literally, the
legacy.
sound on a TikTok can change within 2 weeks. If you don't get all that you can get out of that sound and milk it for the whatever monetization you can get out of it, it's gone.
Yeah. Dog. Oh my gosh. He's speaking all the facts right now. And so I'm just like thankful for somebody like you. Like I said, you deeply resonate with me because of your authenticity, because you're committed to just being you, and it sets you apart from so many people. Anytime I see you across the timeline, anytime I see you in person, like I legit, it's like a highlight to my day. I'm
It's
so
all-
serious. Like it's
If
all
you follow
love.
me on Twitter, it's all nonsense.
Oh,
I'm
and I
sorry, but it's
love
the
it.
most authentic nonsense you can find.
But I think that's the best part though, because we're in a world where everybody has to be so in line with.
They're so
like, the
snatched
status
up. Like
quo.
I see people talking about like, oh, I don't want my coworkers to find me on Twitter because like I be acting like da 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 da. I'm like, nigga, this is how I act in real life.
That's what exactly. I'd be like, nah, this is really an extension of me because I gotta let y'all know real quick.
No, they're
how
so
I
like
am on Instagram, how I'm on
so
Twitter.
pretentious. Like, oh, please, like
Oh
you
my
can
gosh.
you can't find the real me on here. I'm just posting song lyrics and shit like that. I'm like, bro, nobody
Shut
fucking
up
cares.
at
Please
all.
get off the app.
Oh my gosh, you're speaking all the facts right now because I be sitting there in the same boat. Is that okay? Good. Because you're sitting here and I'm like, dog. So many people when they first meet me, they're like, "Oh, you really are just an extension of yourself." Like,
Yeah,
Twitter's
nobody
really
wants to
extension
be
of you.
them. Like, why
Yeah.
don't you want to be you?
I said, I need y'all to know. I said, you might have been introduced to me as like the social justice person, this intellectual. Whoop, whoop. I said, I am a deeply unserious human.
Deeply.
I need people to understand that. I will make the worst dad jokes in the world. My breath stink first in the morning. Don't talk to me before coffee. Like, I'm real regular. Like, y'all can get that good morning to niggas, niggas only. But let's be very clear. Other than that, I said, I look at my staff. They're just like, is this professional? I said, look, it don't matter. I said, you're going to get what you're going to get.
Yeah.
I said, I refuse to be bored at work. If I just have to spend 8 hours of my day here, you thought I was compromising my identity
We
for
gonna
y'all?
make the best of it.
Exactly. And that's exactly how I operate. And so it's always funny because I know, like, for so many people, showing up as your most authentic self comes with, like, negative repercussions. But I always tell people, I'm just like, at the end of the day, did you die, though?
Yeah, one thing about me is I'm always going to be me. And that's the thing, too, is like, I don't, like, comparison is the thief of joy.
Yes.
That's something I think about so often in what I do and how I do it. I never want what I do to come across as envious of other people and what I can do. For so long, I had, like, this mindset where, like, if I had the resources that guy has, I probably would be doing better. And that's just not how the world works.
Look, and I got stuck into that for a little bit.
It took something for that guy to find the resources to get to where he was. Even if it was handed for him, he had to do something for people to want to hand that to him.
Yeah.
So it's just like I had to stop thinking that way too. So like I don't try to really compare myself to what the next person is doing.
Mm-hmm.
The only person that can make me feel insecure is myself. And that's what I'm going through, my own struggles or getting past my own imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
I have imposter syndrome. That shit kills me every single time.
I
I don't
get it.
think I'm as good as I think I am. And that's what keeps the fire burning in me. I have that competitive spirit to always want to be better every single day. Even today, I might not be better than I was yesterday, but at least I tried.
Yeah. That's what I kept on my board when I was a teacher. I don't want you to be perfect, but I do want you to try.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all that matters.
Try.
Yeah. Dog, thank you so much for coming onto the show. Like, honestly and truly, this is such a one for me. It felt like such a refreshing conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad. I'm so excited for my audience just to get to interact with you because you are just such a dope human being. But also just like genuinely, like there's so much more of you that one, shout out to us just being middle children together. I totally understand that piece right there. But also like that sense of identity so close to academics, that was me. But then also finding my voice through art has always been my piece as well. And it was performing arts for me, but like even in that space, I think that was like super important. So I'm just like, my spirit is full after this episode. Thank you so much for coming on. Please let the people know where they can find you.
You can't find me. I'm nowhere.
Exactly. He's nowhere and everywhere. He's Batman.
Yeah. I'm mostly, you can find me on Instagram at Yellow Puffer Coat. I'm there. All my stuff is in my bio, my brand, my photography page. I rarely take pictures, but my photography page is there. Seafoam Archive is just like a collection of things that I do too. And Yellow Puffer Pinterest. It's not in my bio because I ran out of space and characters, but yeah, I like the model and stuff too. So if you want to book me to model, I love the model. Also, if you're looking to find me, I'm always at Lapstone and Hammer. Literally every day of my life, Lapstone and Hammer.
Thanks, yo. I'll make sure to put all of his information in the description box below. Thank you all so much for coming back to another episode of Keeping It a Bean. Thank you, Ameen, for coming through and chilling with me as well.
You know what? Thank you for having me. I've been tweeting for about 3 years that I want somebody to interview me because I have some shit to say. I don't know what I wanted to say, but I said some shit today.
You did. You did. And I'm glad. You're always welcome to come back once you're part of the Keeping It a Bean ecosystem. It's just a rotating guest panel from there.
Hey,
so,
put me in. I'm available. I'll make myself available.
Look, don't worry. I'm about to have a show coming up soon. Keeping It a Bean will just be like a series of hot takes where I'm just like, just say your biggest hot take that you have. And then just post it up.
We're going to get all the way negative.
Oh my God, I love it. I am ready. All right. But thank you again, y'all. Thank you for tuning in for another week. I appreciate y'all. I will see y'all next week. Peace.
Perfect.
Oh, you did that.
Killed it.